After a decade in financial advice, I realized that I was seeing a lot of real estate come across my desk, and our firm didn't have a solution. I talked to my firm, my financial services firm, and I said, hey, can I go sit down with some CEOs? And as I sat down with CEOs for the next 2.5 years, and I did a lot of this. I sat down with a lot of big companies. As I sat down with those CEOs, or company after company after company, I realized some things about CEOs, and specifically personalities that I saw on the internet. Here's some of the lessons I learned in that experience.
About 10 years ago, I had an idea that eventually became Bedrock. But before it became Bedrock, I wanted to see if anyone else in the real estate investment space had done the thing that I wanted to do. And if someone had already done it, we would have just partnered with them and worked with them for the next who knows how long. What I realized when sitting down with some big personalities in the real estate investment space, some people who really have these enormous businesses where they invest in real estate and where people know their names all over, there's three main things that I realized when sitting down with these people in person. Number one, they're caricatures. What you see on YouTube or what you see on CNBC, what you see on these people, they're caricatures. It's absolutely not how they come across. I've not met one person in person who I'd ever seen on film who's authentic to who they are in person. They're much, much quieter in person. They're much, much more reserved in person. They speak a lot less arrogantly in person. But apparently someone in the marketing ethos has told everyone at some point, you've got to be larger than life and you've got to be really loud. You've got to act like you have all the answers. And the truth is, they don't. Every really bright person that I've met who's done well in real estate, specifically people who have big followings, they're bright people. They're not magic.
Before we go farther, I want to give you a little bit of an intro to the channel if you're new here. This is an entrepreneurship channel, and maybe a little bit of a guided tour of the type of stuff we do and why you might like it might be helpful. If I was to start anywhere on the channel right now, I would start right here at Trump's Tariffs Explained. One of the 7 companies that I own is a bandage company. It's called Crash Pads. We import directly from China. So the day after Liberation Day in 2025, we did a video talking specifically about all the intricacies of how Trump's tariffs affect my business, my bandage company. And what I did was I got a whiteboard out and I just walked through all of the different pieces of Trump's tariffs and how they affect a small business, from profitability to pricing a product to building a supply chain to employment to sales taxes to who pays the tariffs. And if I'm honest, I think it's one of the better explanations of how tariffs affect an economy of anything I've seen or heard. And it did really well. And we just walked through all of the intricacies of that. If that doesn't interest you, I've always loved rehabbing houses. This is the biggest rehab I've ever attempted. And I've flipped at least 20 properties over the years. But this rehab cost us $1,060,000. It's going to be years of work. It's a big, gorgeous, interesting, complicated rehab. And we're letting people follow along the entire time as we rehab the whole thing. It's an incredible project. It's got it's big 6,000-foot McMansion and this beautiful sliding rock feature into rivers. It's a fascinating project. If you're just interested in, hey, real estate investment, how do I get there? This video, Never Buy Rentals Here, is the simplest math that I can do to help people understand what makes a good rental and what doesn't. Where are markets that make sense and where are markets that don't make sense? If that interests you, feel free to look around, but it's an entrepreneurship channel. There's a bunch of different pieces. It's not just real estate. It's not just efficiencies. It's not just Turo. It's not just flipping. It's not just Airbnb. It's all of those things, because I own companies right now that do every single one.
Every really bright person that I've met who's done well in real estate, specifically people who have big followings, they're bright people. They're not magic. And the reason that is a problem is because they've carefully cultivated personas to make them seem like they've got it all together. They're standing in front of a Lamborghini. They're standing on top of El Cap, right? They're doing these insane things to make it seem like you can trust them implicitly because they've figured it out. They've got the code cracked. And honestly, they're averagely intelligent to more than averagely intelligent. But they're not magic. The reason this is a huge problem is because of the third point. Virtually all of them, at some stage or another, are selling the highest return they can possibly show. And when you couple showing the highest return, where you're showing high appreciation assumptions, where you're showing high rent roll assumptions, where you're showing low CapEx reserves, low vacancy reserves, when you're cooking the pro formas that you're showing your clients so they show the highest possible returns, and coupling that with the persona that says, I cannot be wrong because I'm a Lambo or El Cap, when you're doing that together, people many times just trust that they have cracked it and they give their money. And then when it goes bad, those same personas use their money to fight them in court. So it's a huge problem when you're talking about being a huge caricature. Here at Bedrock, I've had dozens of marketing experts tell me, hey, you need to be more loud, you need to be more engaging, you need to be more confident. Truth is, I like to be authentic first and foremost. That's a really important thing. Beyond that, our performers are conservative. We have a market right now where we're buying, where last year depreciated between 20 and 30%. We show appreciation for the next 3 years at 9%. We show appreciation past that at 3%. Even though we really do expect it to average over the next 6 to 7 years at about 12%. But being conservative never hurt anyone, especially in the world of investing with other people's money. So what I'm shooting for is, let's be honest with each other. Let's be authentic with each other. You're never going to see Jeremy Watson standing on top at El Cat talking about how his Lambo has never broken down. That's not the way we are at Bedrock. I personally think that's not the way we should be anywhere.
If you want to further dive into the behind the scenes of real estate investment and passive real estate investment, my team has helped people buy over 5,000 single-family residential properties over the last 15 years. If you want to see more of what we have learned along the way, I would highly recommend a video we put out. I'll put it right here, called I Thought My Property Manager Would Handle Everything. And in that video, we talk about all the things that property managers do, and then all of the things that property managers don't do, that people think in their minds that they will do. If you want to see that, it's an amazing video. I'm going to put it right here. If you enjoyed that clip, it's actually part of a 7-minute, 8-minute clip where we talked a lot more about personalities in the investment space. It's where we talked about the type of people that I've met in real life who have large followings. If you want to see the whole clip and kind of my thoughts on it, here's the link right here.